Hey everybody, this is Dr. Nelson. This is a video about system of linear inequalities. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video than before. So you're going to take some notes on a few pages, and then there'll be some problems for you to try, and then at the end you can see how you did. All right. So take a look at the first page here, and on the left-hand side we have an example of a system of linear equations. And on the right-hand side, we have a system of linear inequalities. Okay, and during the past few days, you've been learning how to solve system of linear equations. And just looking at this, you should recognize that this point right here is the solution to the system. Okay, now over here is a system of linear inequalities, and the difference is what's represented in the blue. These are all solutions to the system. So point here, point here, point here. Anything that's in the blue is a solution. All right. So if you go to the next page, let's just do a real quick review of inequalities. Okay. So again, here's the signs. We have greater than or equal to, less than, or less than or equal to. Okay. Some people think of Pac-Man always wants the larger amount, right? In terms of graphing, let's say if we wanted to graph just x equals -2, it would just be a single point. Actually, that should be right there at -2. All right. But let's say if we wanted to graph x is greater than or equal to -2, it'd be a closed circle going forward, right? So all these values are greater than or equal to -2. All right. Here is an example of x is less than or equal to -2. All right. Again, a closed circle, and all these values to the left of this is going to equal will be a solution. All right. The difference between this and this, if you notice, is an open circle. That's because x has to be greater than -2. So -2 is not a solution. And this one is x is less than -2. Again, an open circle. All right. Next page, please. When solving inequalities, remember there's a golden rule. All right. And the golden rule, this is a biggie. So if you put a star there, do it, whatever you got to do, remember this. And you have to flip the sign when you multiply or divide both sides of the inequality by a negative. All right, please underline the word negative. Okay, so let's just quickly solve these two examples here. So we have 3 times the number plus 2 is going to be less than 11. So take away 2. So remember, you solve it just like you would in an equation. So 3n is less than 9. Then divide by 3. Which means n is going to be less than 3. There's our solution. All right. Now let's do this one down here. We have -4n plus 1 is greater than or equal to 25. So I'm going to first take away 1 from both sides. So we have -4 times n is greater than or equal to 24. And then I need to divide both sides by -4. So n is going to be, wait a minute, the golden rule. We divided both sides by a negative, right? So we got to flip the sign. So now it's going to be less than or equal to -6. All right. So those are the key things you need to remember about inequalities. So if you turn the page, let's now graph some linear inequalities. All right. Now the nice thing about these is you graph these just like you would a linear equation. All right. So this is written in slope-intercept form. So we're going to graph this as the y-intercept is going to be 1, and we're going to have a slope of 2. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and then also down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1, and so on. Now here's the big thing about this. Because y is greater than or equal to, right, that little line matters. All right, so because it's greater than or equals to, this line that we're going to connect the dots with is going to be a solid line. Because that line could be a solution, or any point in that line could be a solution to the inequality. Okay, now pay attention, this is key. All right, y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. So the way we're going to graph this is the y value, starting at the y-intercept, is going to be greater than that. So if I was right here at 1, okay, all the y values going upward are going to be greater than 1, right? So we're going to shade this side of the line. And all of these, or this whole section that we're shading, every single point in that is a solution to the inequality. All right? Let's take a look at this one. This one we have negative 2y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 4. Okay? But this time, I'm going to get rid of that line. Just cross that off for me. All right? So now it's going to be negative 2y is greater than 2x plus 4. Now, this is not, not written in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And when I do that, I now get y. Now, we divided by negative, so we got to flip the sign, right? Y is going to be less than negative x minus 2. All right? So now when I graph this, we're going to start at negative 2. And this time we're going to have a negative slope, because really the slope is going to be 1, negative 1. So we're going to go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. And then also up 1, left 1. It's the same ratio, right? Just like this. All right. Now this time, y has to be less than this, right? So when I connect the dots, this time instead of it being a solid line, we're going to use a dotted line. Because y has to be less than that line. Okay? Now this time, y again has to be less than negative 1x minus 2. So you go at the intercept, and to have y be less, we're talking about going down, right? So it's going to be this side of the graph that we're going to shade in. And again, just like the one before, every single coordinate in the shaded region, okay, and this continues to go up like this, by the way, and down here, okay? Every single point on that graph is a solution to the inequality, all right? So if you turn the page, let's try this one, okay? Now we have our first system of linear inequalities, all right? And so we have two different inequalities that we're going to graph, okay? So I'm going to use red for the first one. So y is less than or equal to negative x minus 2. So we have a y-intercept of negative 2 with a negative slope. So plot those points for me. Just like this. All right. And because it's less than or equal to, we're going to make a nice solid line going through the graph. Like this. All right. And y is less than or equal to negative x minus 2. So less than means down, right? So we're going to shade this entire region in red. All right. Now I'm going to use a different color to graph our second inequality, which is y is greater than negative 5x plus 2. Okay. This time we're going to have a y-intercept of 2 with a negative 5 slope. So I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And I'm going to also go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And left 1. So it'll be kind of up here. All right. And this time we're going to have a closed line going through these points. Like this. All right. And just like before, right, y is going to be less than or equal to negative 5x plus 2, okay? So I'm going to shade in from the y-intercept downward. So it's going to be the left-hand side of the line, like this. All right. Now, here's a key thing to try to understand. I know this is messy, but anywhere you see both red and blue in the same area, like, for example, this area right here, right, is just blue. This area over here is just red, right? But anywhere you see both red and blue, okay, that's a solution to the system, all right? So again, let me take a highlighter and kind of try to highlight what I'm talking about. So it looks like we kind of start here and kind of go over like this. So it's kind of like this entire area right here. Remember, that extends downward and out, right? So any value, right, inside that area is a solution to the system. All right, if you turn the page, let's try one more here. All right, now this time, notice that these systems are not written in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we have a little work to do here. So let me go back to my pen here. So I'm going to rewrite the first inequality over here. So it's going to be 3x plus 2y equals negative 2. All right, and to put this in slope-intercept form, it's going to be greater than or equal to negative 2. So I'm going to take away 3x from both sides. So it's going to be 2y is greater than or equal to negative 3x minus 2. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And we end up with y is going to be greater than or equal to negative 3 halves x minus 1. Okay, so we're going to graph this inequality. That's the first one. Okay, now let's do the second one. The second one we have is x plus 2y is less than or equal to 2. All right, I'm going to first take away x from both sides. So that's going to be 2y. It's going to be less than or equal to negative x plus 2. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So that's going to give us y is going to be less than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 1. So there's our second inequality. All right. So now let's graph this. I'm going to graph this first one in green, and the second one will be in red. All right. So this first one we have a y-intercept of 1, and we have a negative 1/2 slope. So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 2, down 1 to the right 2, and then I can also go up 1 and left 2, up 1 and left 2. All right. And again, it's going to be a closed line like this. All right. And this time I'm going to use a highlighter if I can. Highlighter. So y is going to be less than or equal to, right? So we're talking about underneath the y-intercept. So it's going to be this side of the graph. Just like that. All right. So again, this should be like a solid color right here because every single point on that works. All right. All right. Now let me go back to the red now. And I'm going to graph the second one here. Okay. So this time we have a y-intercept of negative 1 with a slope of negative 3/2. So I'm going to go down 3 over 2. And then up 3, 1, 2, 3, and left 2. I think I have room for another one here. Up 3 and left 2. And let's connect the dots again. And just like before, it's a solid line because y is going to be greater than or equal to negative 3/2 x minus 1. And let me get my red highlighter this time. Oh, maybe I'll use pink. Okay. And y is going to be greater than. Okay. So here's the y-intercept. So y increases this way. So it's going to be the right-hand side of that graph. All right. Now focus where the red and the green intersect. And actually it makes it a little bit darker, right? Okay. This zone right here is the solution to the inequality, the system of inequalities. And there it is. Every single value inside the double shaded region, okay, will work for this inequality here as well as this inequality here. All right. All right, now that you understand about system of linear inequalities, why don't you pause the video and try your term problems now. And then when you're done, hit play and you can see how you did. All right, I recommend you take your time with these problems. They're a little bit tricky, but with practice and hard work, they become pretty easy. All right, good luck. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did with the system of linear inequality problems. Okay, the first one we have y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus 2. Then also y is less than negative 2x minus 3. So I'm going to graph this first inequality in black. Okay, so we're going to have a y-intercept of 2, and then a slope of 1/2. So up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Also go down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2. And again, because it's less than or equal to, it needs to be a nice, straight, solid line going through the points, like that. All right? And then to highlight it, I'm going to use a highlighter. And let's go with a black marker, actually. And y is going to be less than or equal to, right, 1/2 x plus 2. So less than means down from that point. So we're going to talk about all these values is a solution to that first inequality system, or inequality. All right. Next one we have, I'm going to go with green. All right. And this one, we're going to have a y-intercept of -3. So this is kind of hard to see, but be about down here. And then we're going to have a slope of -2 over 1. Okay. So I'm going to go down 2 and over 1. Also up 2, which is going to be right about here, over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. And we're going to have this time an open line because y is less than. All right, so it's going to be a dotted line going through the graph like this. All right, and y is less than -2x minus 3. So again, at the y-intercept, we're talking about down below here. So we're talking about all these points on this side of the line. All right. Now, the solution to this is going to be this zone right here that includes both black and green. Can you see that? Right? So every single value in this area, okay, is a solution to this inequality as well as this one. All right? All right, take a look at the last one. We have y is greater than -x minus 2, and then also y is less than -5x plus 2. So let's use red this time. Okay, and for the first one, I'm going to graph this one in red. So we have a y-intercept of -2 with a negative slope. So let's graph this together here, like that. And we're going to have an open line, so a dotted line going through, like this. And let me get this time a highlighter. Let's go with pink. And y is going to be greater than -x minus 2. So again, there's the y-intercept, so we're going up from there. So it's going to be this side of the graph, just like that. All right, every single value until you touch the line. Okay, then it's not a solution. Now, the next one we have y is less than -5x plus 2. All right, so I'm going to go with green this time. We'll graph it in green. And this time, actually green, come on. There we go. And so we're going to have a y-intercept of 2, and then a slope of -5. So I'm going to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And I can also go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1 like this. All right, and just like the inequality before, all right, it's going to be an open line, so it's going to be a dotted line going through the points like this. Okay, so that's a dotted line, not a closed line. Okay, and then let me get my highlighter. And we're going to have y is less than -5x plus 2. So from the y-intercept, y decreases as we go down, right? So we're going to shade in the left-hand side of the line. Just like that, okay? And again, anywhere that you see kind of the black, right, which is a combination of the green and the red, that's the solution to the system, all right? So any value that we plug in from this section will work for y is greater than -x minus 2, and also y is less than -5x plus 2. All right? All right, thanks for listening. I hope you did well. Bye-bye.